Welcome.
Welcome. Hello. Here we are.
Hello.
It's all Echo games. We're in our secret little studio room today.
Yes, our secret little utility room.
Yep. I'm D Cool.
And I'm Lewis Moon.
And welcome to
Doctor Who Time and Space.
Well, hey.
Yes.
Episode number something or other.
113, I believe.
Is it really?
I believe it's that. We were listening to some earlier episodes of this podcast earlier, weren't we?
We were. Excuse me. Ones that predated the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and on that it was so weird, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Because we had like phone calls, and I put on a silly voice. I put on the voice of a woman for a whole episode.
Yeah, you're talking really high.
Yes, I was like
that. So what we got on this week's show?
Well,
obviously no silly voices.
We've got the first production judged by tenure. We call them production judged by tenures. And this time we are going to be looking at the 1963 to 1966 tenure, which was led by Sidney Newman and Verity Lambert and people like that.
Excellent. I'm hoping you're going to take a lead on that.
Yes.
It's all the brain box of the duo.
Okay, and we hope you enjoyed our normal judge by tenures, but there'll be a few less than these because, of course, some people who have done Doctor Who have done them for more than one Doctor, and some have done them for less than one Doctor.
Yeah.
So, for example, with Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe, we'll have the first half of the Tom Baker era, then we'll have the first bit of the Tom Baker era, then the Graham Williams, then the JNT.
Sounds interesting. Also on the show, we'll be giving our review of The Mark of Varney.
Yes.
Which came up on the randomizer last week, and we've now finished viewing.
I know.
What else do we have in this week's show?
But we'll talk about that later. We have our some Who to Face.
We do have Who to Face. We'll be pressing the magic randomizer button yet again.
And of course, now we are going to go over to the news.
So let's have the news.
Yes.
What do you have for us this week? Is there very much?
Now, we've got a bit more than last week. We've still not got too much news, but at least we've got a bit more than last week.
Yeah. I was going to say, we need more than last week, otherwise we'd end up just making stuff up.
Before we go on to the news, just after the show, I think, last week, it was announced about the brand new series of the 11th and 10th Doctor's Titan stories.
Oh, right.
And
okay.
There'd be a new writer for the 11th Doctor one. And I don't think Alice is going to be in that one. But that's going to be year 2. And year 2 of the 10th Doctor one will still have the 10th Doctor with Gabby. So I've been quite enjoying the Doctor Who Titan comics.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward for the year 2 to see new companions and stuff.
Excellent. Well, let's look forward for that and see what comes up.
Yes.
So, what do you have on from the news team this week?
This is quite a recent piece of news. It only came out today, before the beginning of the day, actually. Big Finish is proud to announce a new range of box sets featuring heroes and monsters from the new series of Doctor Who. Leading this new wave of adventures is Alex Kingston as River Song, the beloved Time Lord archaeologist who first appeared in 2008's Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead. River will be stepping into the era of the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann, for Doctor Who Doom Coalition 2, alongside Liv Chenka, played by Nicola Walker, and Helen Sinclair, Hetty Morahan. But how can River help her husband if, in this incarnation, she must never actually meet him? Wait a minute. I'll just finish this bit and then we'll chat about that. The idea of River meeting previous Doctors was actually proposed by Stephen Moffat as producer David Richardson, and it's just irresistible. isn't it? Alex embraced the idea of returning to the role, and so she will be starring in no less than 2 box sets next year. And yes, we are still pinching ourselves. So, what do you think of the first part of that article?
I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Full stop. I'm intrigued by the thought of her meeting the Eighth Doctor.
Yeah, that's what interested me, because I think Doom Coalition 1 was confirmed quite a long time ago, and I think you can listen to an old podcast about that.
Okay. What I'm not sure about on this then, so because I've not seen Silence in the Library before, but so that's the first one that had with a song in it, yeah? And that was the one where she died in it, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get my head around how she's meeting the Eighth.
Because
although I guess
it
if she
goes
can go
backwards.
Yeah.
But if she dies in the 10th Doctor era, then how can she be in the 8th Doctor era?
I guess the only thing, isn't it, is that if she's a Time Lord as well, so she can go back and forth all over the place.
Yeah.
So I guess she could have gone back in time to the 8th Doctor's period.
Only if the 11th Doctor's gone to a time when... Because we're unaware of River Song's TARDIS, but there's the possibility that the Doctor's come from his time.
Yeah.
And then, well, he doesn't have a time, but it's interesting. I'll go on to this in a minute, but what I was going to say is he could have gone to the time when River Song is in the story.
Yes, indeed.
But
or she could have gone back.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is, I'd like to know what time is like on Gallifrey. Like, like if it's the same year as us, if it's like different than PM and AM and stuff like that.
I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking, if you imagine if we were in the TARDIS now rather than the very small utility room.
Yeah.
Firstly, the room would be a lot bigger
inside,
but also, if we were to go get in the TARDIS and we'd disappear off, we would either stay within our own time, we'd go forward in time, or we'd go back in time.
Yeah.
But for the Doctor, what is his time? Has he got a time at all?
Or that's what I thought before.
Is he ever going back in time, or is he actually just being?
Yeah.
I mean, there must be. I mean, we obviously know that he's born. So at a certain point in time, he's born. So therefore, anything before that must be before he was born.
Yeah, but we don't.
After that is after he was born.
We don't know when he was born, though.
No, indeed.
And maybe we will know. Hint from that listen episode.
Yeah.
We may know more about that.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought, though, isn't it? So do we know anything else about this article?
River will then return later in 2016 in Doctor Who: The Diary of River Song, an epic 4-hour adventure that takes River across space and time, seeking out the secret rulers of the universe. Paul McGann will reprise the role of the 8th Doctor in the final installment. So he's in it again. Now, the new series adventures will continue in Doctor Who: The Churchill Years, in which stars Ian McNeice returns as the indomitable Winston Churchill in the 4-hour saga. Winston relates a number of encounters with the 9th, 10th and 11th Doctors in his memoirs, battling alien incursions, metamorphosizing creatures and Dalek. The stories are told by Ian McNeice, supported by a full cast of guest actors including Danny Horn as Kazran Sardik, a story taking place within the 2010 special A Christmas Carol. Ian has played Churchill in just 4 episodes on TV, and yet it feels like it was many more, says executive producer Nicholas Briggs. It was such a brilliant, definitive performance, and how wonderful that will be. We'll be continuing Churchill's adventures with the Doctor on audio.
It's funny because I don't know about you, but that doesn't interest me quite so much.
No.
It's just
I
don't care.
wouldn't really want to. I wouldn't think of it myself personally,
Yeah.
but I'd rather. I think if you had to choose between the River Song things and that, I'd definitely choose the River Song thing by a million years.
The River Song thing sounds interesting because it sounds more aligned with the Doctor's normal story, whereas this just sounds a little bit random.
Yeah. Now this one sounds interesting, and I don't know which one I prefer, this or the River Song thing. But finally, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Doctors will face a new generation of monsters in Doctor Who Classic Doctors, New Monsters, a brand new 4-story run featuring creatures from the new series. Peter Davison takes on the Weeping Angels, Colin Baker encounters the Jadoon, Sylvester McCoy will meet the Cigarettes, and Paul McGann will face a new clone batch of Sontarans on the edge of the Time Wall. It's the ultimate mashup, says executive producer Jason Hay-Ellery. And we have some great scripts lined up for these landmark stories. There's no doubt that 2016 is going to be a brilliant year for Big Finish. Now, what do you think?
Now that I do find exciting.
Yeah.
And I've always thought to myself, why is it that in all the incarnations of the Doctor, he'd never met the Weeping Angels before the 10th?
Yeah, well, of course, in some of the figure adventures, like ours, and Doctor Online adventures, I think they have one.
Yeah. So
the 7th Doctor.
So I quite like that idea. I think it's interesting to see that he has faced things like that before. Although I tell you what, I think the Big Finish have actually stolen that idea from us and Who to Face.
Yeah.
I think they made their own Who to Face generator. I reckon.
Yeah.
In fact, you'll start watching it and you'll think that storyline sounds familiar. I'm sure we came up with that on Who to Face in episode 147.
All 4 box sets will be released across 2016 and are available to pre-order today from the Big Finish website. Doctor Who Doom Coalition 2 will be released in February and is available as part of a special bundle of all 4 Doom Coalition box sets. Doctor Who Diary of River Song, Doctor Who The Churchill Years, and Doctor Who Classic Doctors New Monsters can be pre-ordered for just £20 each on CD or download, and are also available as part of our new Doctor Who new series bundle.
So, out of all of those, what would jump out most for you?
Oh God, I'm going to eliminate the Churchill Years one. I quite like the idea of. I don't know. It's between the River Song with 8th Doctor and the New Monsters, Classic Doctors.
Thinking about those, then the Classic Doctors, new Monsters. Which of the 4 stories jumps out at you and says, "I'd really like to see that one"?
I like the idea of 7th Doctor with the Cigarettes, because I always thought the Cigarettes were quite cool monsters.
Yeah,
and
I agree. Actually, that's the one that jumps out at me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you put them in order?
I would go. So we have. I'll do it from the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Cigarettes.
So Sylvester McCoy against the Cigarettes. Then maybe Peter Davison taking on the Weeping Angels.
I'll go that.
Then probably Colin Baker with the Jadoon.
Yeah, because it says New Monsters and Old Doctors. The Sontarans aren't New Monsters.
No, that's what I think. That's probably why I've got them last. Which Doctor meets the Sontarans?
The 8th.
The 8th. Yeah. See, the thing is though, I want to see more 8th Doctor adventures. So.
No, but have you noticed in all of these, apart from that Churchill Years one, there's the 8th Doctor in.
Yeah, indeed. I think he's a key Doctor for the Big Finish productions, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Has he done more than anyone else?
I think so.
Yeah.
Big Finish just keeps getting awesomer and awesomer, someone says. The 5th Doctor placed against the Weeping Angels. I called this one in the Infinite Potential article. Wow, Big Finish love making fan dreams come true. I really should give them a try. It all sounds amazing. Maybe they'll pick up our Clara Echo idea down the line too, drools at the thought. Wait, hang on though. Didn't the Doctor say that he'd only met the Weeping Angels once in Time of the Angels? And I can't remember the Doctor. I can't remember the Doctor remembering the cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they've gone back in time.
Yeah.
He's forgot about it or something.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think necessarily though. Every time he meets a monster, he's not always going to say, "Ah, it's them again," is it? You know, if when you're walking down the street and you go to the shop, and you go in there, you don't go in there and every time and go, "Ah, hello, shopkeeper again." You just go in there and do things, don't you? Because you see it all the time. So. I don't know. I guess if he referred to Blink as being the first time he'd met them, then that's a little bit different. But I'm not sure whether necessarily the fact that in the Christmas Invasion he doesn't say about how he met the Sycorax before. I don't see that being an issue really.
No.
Yeah.
So we had news about the Doctor Who festival. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yes, indeed.
BBC Worldwide Australia and New Zealand is delighted to announce the first ever Doctor Who festival in Australia, which will take place in Sydney at the Royal Hall of Industries at the Hordern Pavilion on Saturday the 21st and 22nd of November 2015. The Doctor Who festival will be attended by the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, and lead writer and executive producer Stephen Moffat, with more. Wait a minute.
Yeah, the moral of this story is don't eat sweets whilst doing a long news article.
Fans of all ages will be able to celebrate the heritage and magic of the show with exclusive access to props, costumes, and talent from both in front of and behind the camera. A week after the Doctor Who Festival in London, Australian fans will have the chance to hear from key cast members in a series of onstage talent Q&As with limited photo and autograph opportunities available. A series of interactive workshops with the Doctor's resident creative team will give visitors the chance to learn about the television production process and what it takes to be a Doctor Who monster.
Mm.
Fans can also test their knowledge for the chance to win some great prizes in the ultimate Doctor Who quiz and get some exclusive Doctor Who merchandise. The good thing here is if you went on holiday on that week when the Doctor Who Festival in London's on, you can just travel to Australia.
You can, yeah.
The festival is a must-attend for Doctor Who fans, with more exciting announcements to come. They did a first for New Zealand fans. Peter Capaldi will then head to Auckland, New Zealand, on the 24th of November for an intimate evening with the fans. Venue and ticket details for this will be announced in due course. Peter Capaldi says, being unveiled as Doctor Who in Sydney at last year's World Tour and meeting the fantastic Australian fans was such a cosmic, life-changing experience that I'm thrilled to be coming back for a full weekend of Time Lord Mania. Before I tell you what the festival includes and what the prizes are, I like it how Peter Capaldi sort of sticks with the fans.
He does, yeah. He's very down to earth, actually, doesn't it? He still seems very honoured to be actually part of the whole Who stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's nice, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Talking about nice, these sweets are nice, aren't they?
Yeah. There's Q&As. See the writers and cast from the series as they talk about how to make an idea become reality on the series as big and bold as Doctor Who. Photo and autograph opportunities. Limited number of opportunities for photos and autographs with selected talent. Wardrobe department. A fantastic exhibition of costumes and props. Doctor Who quiz hosted in a traditional themed setting. Fans will have the chance to test their knowledge with a chance to win some great prizes. It's not as busy as the Doctor Who festival in London, but
Not quite, no, but still good.
there were some complaints about the prices. Did you know about that?
I didn't know, but
oh.
it doesn't surprise me because it is very expensive.
But this is in dollars, so general is. Oh, sorry.
So I was just going to say, I mean, I'd love to be able to take you to that, but
Yeah.
looking at it, I just wouldn't have enough money to do it.
So general $195, TARDIS $365, concession general is $99, and concession TARDIS is $265. Free tickets available from 11 a.m. on 1st of July. Tickets on general sale from 11 a.m. on 6th of July.
Of course, calling out here to Stephen Moffat. If you'd like this podcast to be present at the festival, we would be more than happy to accept free tickets and a plane flight to Australia. Hint, hint. Do we have any thoughts on this?
Sounds great, except for the price. $195 Australian equals £89 or €125. That will test my budget. Well, I was excited until I saw the prices. Those prices are outrageous. There's no guarantee you'll even get to meet Peter and Jenna. It is a bit dear, and while they're here, why not film an episode or two? Or maybe a full season? Or maybe even just move production to Australia permanently? Actually, no, that would be terrible. All of our shows are terrible.
It's a good bit of news out there, isn't it? I mean, I love the idea of the festival, but I do wish it was a price that was affordable.
Yeah.
Because,
and we want Stephen Moffat to give us some free tickets.
Yes, some free tickets, Moffat.
Talking about Stephen Moffat has responded to showrunner hate. Stephen Moffat has explained his views on dealing with the hate campaigns Doctor Who showrunners can receive while in the role. Speaking in the latest Dawn, which we'll go through in a minute, he says, John Nathan Turner was the first boss of Doctor Who to have a tiny little number of sort of fans who were waging entirely influential campaigns against him, in their 2s or 3s. Russell had a bit of that, and so do I. So what? Pick up an online newspaper, go to the comments section below, read the ranting horrors there. It will turn your hair white. Dear God, who are those people? I don't know. I don't care. The fact is, you don't judge the newspaper, or people in general, by the standards of those comment sections. So why would you judge Doctor Who fandom by the occasional attention-seeking ranter? I've always found fans to be clever, funny, articulate, and more than usually friendly. I'm perfectly and humorously aware that knowing every detail about an early Saturday evening adventure serial is a pleasant but extremely daft thing to do. May it be daft forever? It is now, and always has been, a game for the civilized and kind. Love exceptions don't change that. However, he adds, I suppose being honest, because we're all human and fragile, some of the blows do land. You know, when you're tired, in the dark watches of the night, when that hand is grasping for your ankle from under the bed. I guess that it must have been hard for GNT sometimes, John Nathan Turner. Back in the day. I remember not long ago feeling a bit grim myself about some vicious remarks. Stupidly and childishly, I'd let them get to me. Ranters rejoice, your aim was true. Neil Gaiman dropped me a gentle note. He said something like, they love your shows so much they think they own them. I think the point, and the kindly astonishment, was that it's a privilege to be making shows about which people care so much, and that honour should take care of everything else.
It does surprise me sometimes, some of the hate that you get, but you get it regardless, you know.
Yeah.
And it's far more prevalent now in the internet generation because it's so easy for somebody to make a horrible comment about someone, and it's completely faceless because it's just a bit of writing on a webpage.
Yeah. The latest issue of Doctor Who magazine has given a production update on season 9.
Ooh.
As we know, filming on episode 10 is well underway, but after that, work will commence on episodes 11 and 12, which will be the final 2 episodes of this year's series. Episode 9 will be the last episode to be filmed of the run. The writer is still to be confirmed, but Mark Gatiss seems the most likely candidate given his past comments. The BBC also recently tweeted that the latest read-through began last Thursday, given you can see a picture in the show notes, given Dawn's info about Series 9. This must be either episodes 11 or 12, meaning final filming can't be far off.
Ooh.
There's a script there, you can see.
Oh yeah, picture the script. Mm.
And then, so, do you want to take it in turns to read the...
Yeah, well, do you want me to read these and you can scoff a few sweets if you like? So far we've got 901 and 902, The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar, written by Stephen Moffat. 903, 904, written by Toby Whitehouse. 905, we know the title of that is The Girl Who Died. That's written by Jim Matheson and Stephen Moffat. 906 is called The Woman Who Lived by Catherine Trigana. 907 and 908 are written by Peter Harness. 909, we don't know for sure, but we think it's probably Mark Gatiss, the writer, not the name of the episode. 910 is written by Sarah Dollard. And then finally, the finale, 911 and 912, is written by Stephen Moffat.
You said 910, and then when it said 910, you said 910.
Did I?
Yeah. I've been away for a while. Do we have any information about the directors for Series 9? The writing lineup is pretty solid. No, that's a bit boring. We can still hope for a multi-Doctor 10th anniversary special, right? I'd like to think so. Do you guys think we might get a Halloween special? I would love one. Please not Gatiss, please, someone says. And finally, I was complaining that Doctor Who had barely any two-parters for a while. Now there might be too much.
See, that's a perfect example how you can just never please some people.
Yeah.
You know, what if you take one away? Is that the perfect amount, or is that one too less?
Yes, that's enough. That's enough.
Hmm.
I think 3. I think they've overdone it by doing 4 two-parters.
Think so? See, I don't. I like it.
I'd wish for 3 two-parters.
Did you? Yeah. I just think whatever you do, some people's going to say, "Oh, that's one too many," or "That's one too less."
So, finally, BBC America teased the return of Doctor Who in an ultra-short video stateside last night. Don't get too excited, though, as there's absolutely zero footage from the upcoming run. It looks like the TARDIS might be back, though. Who knew? This little Doctor Who teaser just aired during the Orphan Black final. We'll see everyone this fall on BBC America. Doctor Who on BBC A, June 21st, 2015, and you can see an in-depth breakdown on the website.
I can't see that you did have too much of an in-depth breakdown because all it shows is a TARDIS.
I think we'll get the proper trailer at Comic-Con in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think when we're back here in 2 weeks, well, we will be here next week, but 2 weeks' time, I think we'll be able to discuss the trailer.
I think you're probably right. Yeah. Perhaps we should have a Comic-Con special.
Yeah, but what did you think of the trailer? You watched it with me earlier.
Yeah. It's not a lot really happens. It's a teaser trailer. It's a reminder. To me, it's not really a teaser trailer. It's more of a reminder trailer. Remember, it's still around. Remember what it is. Hello, Americans. Remember us? Because it doesn't really do much other than that, does it?
Waiting impatiently for the in-depth trailer breakdown. Oh, thank goodness, the TARDIS is coming back, someone said. I actually really like that hearty blue logo on a white-black background. Doctor Who TV, you should have this warning. And can't wait for the in-depth breakdown and Series 9 confirmed.
That is true. We now know there's definitely going to be a Series 9.
Yes. And the TARDIS is going to be in it.
We do.
It's going to be a series like no other.
So, is that all of the news?
Yes, that's all of this week's news.
You have got in your hand, I can see, the latest edition of Doctor Who Monthly.
Yes, and you can see more news in there that we may, probably more to do with the audio series and more to do with merchandise and events and and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In cast news. And you can see that in the news dorm. There's some questions answered by Stephen Moffat. There's some forums. There's an interview with Ingrid Oliver, who plays Osgood.
One for the fans in.
Yes.
The fans love it.
There's a thing which shows some very good cosplays.
Yeah.
So you can see them. That's quite a fun article.
There's somebody actually there, I've just noticed. That there's a woman dressed up as Tom Baker and somebody else dressed up as Tom Baker not in costume. Oh, wait a minute, it's Tom Baker.
Yeah. Look at that Adric.
Oh, that's brilliant.
What was I going to say?
It's sort of like Adric after he's eaten about 70 fries. I like to it.
Danny Hargreaves explains the science of blowing stuff up.
Oh.
There's David Warner, who was in Cold War and Star Trek and stuff like that. There's a new comic strip, the final part of Blood and Ice. There's 40 memories,
Ooh.
which in relative dimensions. There's the final part, I think it's the final part of Doctor Who on home video.
Okay.
And there's a look at the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. A look at Revenge of the Cybermen, Dawn Review, and Watcher. So there's lots of things.
Plenty of stuff to get your teeth into then.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's good then. So that's out at the moment in the shops for people that want to get hold of the new.
Yes, any news agents, WH Smith is probably the most reliable place to get it from. But
I was going to say, when you say any news agents, we don't necessarily always find it that easy to find, do we? Then again, we do live in Weymouth, so nothing's that easy to find here. I'm afraid to say, we're in a little place. So, does that take us on to the next section of the show?
yes.
So, what is it?
Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our Judge by Tenure, our second version of Judge by Tenure.
Okay, so
Not
Judge
saying
My
that the
Tenure-
last one wasn't good.
Judge My Tenure, Act 1 was basically going through each of the Doctor's tenures. This
Yeah.
time we're going to move on to the showrunners, is that right?
Yeah, the showrunners.
Okay. So, starting right from the top, are we?
Yes, we are going to start with Sidney Newman, Verity Lambert, Donald Wilson, and various other credits, which we're not going to go through them all, but this was the time when Doctor Who was created. And today we're going to look at Doctor Who in 1963 to 1966.
And it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because if you go back in time a year and
Yeah.
a bit, to the 50th anniversary, and there was that really fantastic Mark Gatiss written production, what's it called? Adventures in Time and Space, was it?
Yeah,
Which covered this period, basically, didn't it?
yeah,
Primarily.
yeah, it did.
Excellent. Okay, so what do we look at then in Judge My Tenure?
So,
the showrunners?
first of all, we're going to look at the good bits about them. Well, obviously, they started Doctor Who, and
Yeah.
we can thank them for that.
I think that's got to be the most important bit, hasn't it? And also the fact that they brought us Daleks.
Yeah, we'll talk about
So-
best achievement
Mhm.
later.
Okay.
But I think they chose different sort of a variety of stories, and what I liked about this tenure is that it was very varied between historical and spacey type stories.
Yeah.
And alien type stories. Like one story historical, the next a space one.
You might know the answer to this better than me, but so Sidney Newman, I'm thinking back to that Mark Gatiss program.
Yeah.
Was he the guy that came up with the original idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because assuming that's fairly accurate, he liked the idea of it being a sort of historical program, didn't he, where people would actually learn something about history as well as having adventures within it. As you say, they used to do that quite a lot, didn't they, in those days?
Yeah.
Probably less so now.
Yeah. And well, if you watch that, when Verity Lambert approached Sidney Newman saying that Terry Nation and her have got an idea about aliens who start a war, and he says no bug-eyed monsters like you promised at the beginning.
That's right.
And she said, but it's about war, and it shows you, children and viewers about war and that you shouldn't cause it, and there's still a lesson to learn.
Yeah.
And then eventually he accepted. By the end of that episode, when he was shocked at how many people liked it, and then eventually he said, that was an amazing idea.
Yeah, bring on the bug-eyed monsters. More bug-eyed monsters, please. So obviously we've got that first episode, which is a very important episode. It's the first one. It introduces the whole idea of the Doctor for us, and it brings the sort of magical world to life, doesn't it? But at the same point, it is primarily the first one based still in our time, isn't it?
Yeah.
The time as it was then.
Should we move on to bad points?
Okay, yeah.
Now, this may be because I don't like them, but too many historical episodes.
Which I guess, as I say, was what Sydney wanted, wasn't it? That was the whole idea of it. He wanted it to be a little bit educational as well. What is it you don't like about historical ones?
I just find them boring. I think some of them are good. There are a few. An Earthly Child, the first part, which wasn't set in history, it was set in the present times, was really good, and it made you want to watch the next part. But from episode 2 onwards, it just turned into a really rubbish story.
Right, okay.
It wasn't good anymore because it was a historical story, and they just bore the hell off of you.
See, I've only seen the first part. I've only actually seen the
That's the only part you've seen ever.
No,
we did watch it together.
Did we? I don't know. It must have been boring, and I can't remember it.
It was boring, pretty boring. All it is they say, we make fire, fire maker, you make fire, we make fire, Cave of Skulls. Oh.
Is that what it's called? Is that the one that's called Cave of Skulls?
The second part of it's called
Okay.
Cave of Skulls.
What other historical ones came up in this period of time then?
There were Marco Polo. There were Reign of Terror. There was the Aztecs. There was Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve, the Smugglers. Lots of other stories as well.
What about the gunfighters?
Yeah, the gunfighters.
Gunfighters.
I was
same
naming
tenure?
all of them. Yeah, it's
It is
from
from
the first
yeah.
Doctor.
So, were Sydney and Verity in charge for the whole of William Hartnell's reign?
No, I don't think so. Verity definitely left remember, well, Verity left in 65.
Mhm.
I think Sydney might have left in 64 or 65.
Okay.
But remember at the end of Adventures into Space and Time when there was that person who came in, which William Hartnell didn't like that.
Yeah.
You.
Yes, that's right. I think more than anything, it's just because it was something new, wasn't it? Something different coming in. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I find bad about it. I mean, I guess it's probably at times it's a little bit dated, but
Yeah.
that's natural, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it was a long time ago.
It was, yeah.
But to a certain extent, also there's a lot of charm in some of that. you
Yeah,
know,
I know.
So it's that's not necessarily a bad thing. What other questions do we have?
So, best year. And you know what we're all going to say here? 1963.
Exactly, because that's when it all started.
And it was also the time when the Daleks were created.
Yeah, yeah.
Two major things to do with Doctor Who. The beginning and the beginning.
Did either Sydney or Verity actually write any episodes?
No, they didn't. The leads of the show in the old days didn't used to write any episodes.
Right.
The executive producers and people. I don't think they were called executive producers necessarily,
No.
but they were called. I don't know what they were called, but they were called various things. But there were quite a lot of credits to this early Doctor Who era, but I just named the main two.
Yeah.
And I did name Donald Wilson and the C. Bunny Webber as well, that I didn't mention.
Who?
C.E. Bunny Webber.
Oh right. Okay.
There's also Anthony Corbin, who read the first episodes.
So Bunny Webber just sounds like a sort of comedy character. I am Bunny Webber. So who do you think is the best writer?
Now, if you're going to go with an earthly child, well, I'm going to say Terry Nation on this.
When did Terry come in?
The Daleks.
Oh, of course, because he was the inventor of them, wasn't he? So, have you watched the Dalek episode?
What?
The first Dalek
Yeah.
one. You watched it all the way through.
Twice.
What I love about that is the Daleks are probably the scariest they've ever
Yeah.
been.
That bit when Barbara's attached to the wall.
You can just imagine how scary that would have been when it first came out. And they capture that very well in that Mark Gatiss program.
Yeah, they do.
So you think he's been the best writer?
Yes. Also, memorable mentions. Kit Pedler for the Regeneration. There was Anthony Corbin for the first ever episode, and John Lucarati for probably the most amount of best historical episodes. He made Marco Polo, the highly acclaimed 3 episodes, Marco Polo, the Aztecs, and Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve.
Okay. So thinking through, it's going to test you now. Thinking through in order of episodes, after the Daleks, when was the next time we met a monster?
What do you mean, Keith and Marinus with the board?
Okay, how many in was that?
5.
Okay. So what I was trying to get my head around is...
It's another Terry Nation one, actually.
Right.
That one.
I was trying to get my head around how many historical ones, when it first started, were they virtually all historical ones?
Every other one, maybe.
Right, okay.
And then it was Sensorites, the next monster one.
Okay.
Well, most of them were in space, I suppose, but there were a lot more historical ones than usual.
You probably already answered this, but I'll ask anyway because it's on our question list. Best episode.
This is a hard one. I probably answered this before. I've got to say Dalek Invasion of Earth. I love that story.
I've not seen that one, or I don't think I have. It's one of the ones you've got that one, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's one of the ones I think I'm always saying I'd like to see come up on the round.
Yeah.
So I can't say it's my best one, but it's probably the one I'd most like to watch.
What is your favourite one?
I haven't actually seen very many. I've probably only seen all the way through, and then there's the chance.
You've seen a bit of the Daleks. The first 1 or 2 parts. I think you may have seen the first part of the Sensorites as well.
Yes. Where does that rank? Sensorites, do you know that one?
Yes. Wasn't one of my favourite first Doctor ones, but it is better than it is ranked.
In Dawn.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add on this one?
Best achievement.
Oh, I don't know.
There are many achievements. There was first the beginning of Doctor Who, the Daleks being created, and regeneration.
I guess also what it did is it just the whole fact that it brought a sort of a British sci-fi program to early evening television.
Yeah.
So we'd had some before, which were mainly American type ones.
Yeah.
So in itself, that was quite an achievement. That's excellent. I like this new section of the show. Quite exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Have we got anything else to say about this particular tenure?
I don't think we do, because I don't think we need. I think we've already rated this act. But what do you think? What would you rate it out of 10?
I've not seen enough to be able to give a completely full answer on this, so I'm going to say 7.
Okay, yeah, I'd probably agree.
Yeah, just because I know there's some really great ones to come. So if that's the end of their tenure, what tenure do we have coming next?
We have. I need to search this up, but I don't know who it was that led this Patrick Troughton tenure.
Okay. If there was anyone, I guess. I mean, it might be that it wasn't.
But we'll just go through the tenure.
Okay.
And we'll ask the same questions.
Okay.
Again.
I like it. It's a good section. Good section to the show. So, if that rounds up, judge my showrunner tenure.
Yeah.
What do we have next in the show?
We're going to look at the Mark the Rani. Now, we're just soon coming up to pressing the magic button.
Oh.
But first, we're going to review Mark the Rani.
Okay. So I, as usual, give a bit of a background to it. Okay, so the Doctor. In this instance, it's the got camera number 6.
Yes.
6th incarnation, Colin Baker, and his assistant is the lovely yet whiny Perry.
Papaglia and Brown.
Yeah. They are pulled, whilst in the TARDIS is basically pulled into Earth, and they arrive at the times of Stevenson.
Yeah.
That invented the I can't remember what you call it now, the sort of steam engine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's all based around that sort of period of time. They're not sure why they've been dragged there, but obviously weird things are afoot. There's a little old lady that's waddling around, and then when the sort of coal workers or the miners are going for their baths, they get gassed and have some of the part of their brain sort of stolen, and basically
they're unable to rest.
That's it. So effectively, they turn very violent because they've got the sleep element has been taken from their brain. Now, the person that's actually carrying out this procedure is none other than exiled Time Lord chemist the Rani, and it's the first time we meet the Rani.
Yeah.
One of only 2 times, I guess, in the
and dimensions in time, I guess.
Ah, yes. But she's not alone. But it's not just the Doctor and the Rani. We've got a 3rd Time Lord spliced into this episode because the Master's there as well. It's the Master that actually dragged the Doctor down there, and he's obviously, as he always is, trying to bump the Doctor off.
Yeah.
Can
I go into this? I love the chemistry between the Master and the Rani.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It is great.
Love-hate.
Pardon?
A real love-hate relationship.
Yeah, and we were chatting earlier that we'd like the Rani to return in an episode with the Master, but we were saying that two women wouldn't work like that.
Yeah.
Arguing and slapping faces and pushing each other over.
It would just be like any time in an office with lots of women in it, basically.
Yeah, and it's only if it will swap round and the Master's Missy and the Rani's Rissy.
I would actually, personally, I would love to see the Rani come back in. Now, if you'd have asked me that before we watched this episode again, I would probably have said, I'm not really sure we need the Rani coming back. But having watched the episode again, I've forgotten how much I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
When it came up in the randomizer, my initial thoughts were, oh no. That's going to be down the bottom somewhere.
Because you've watched this episode before. Well, it's still down the bottom. It's number 22.
It's near the bottom.
Well, no, 23, because we've both put it above Gridlock.
Yeah.
But I put it below the Lodger.
But I initially thought it was going to finish right at the bottom. I thought it was going to be the bottom episode, but watching it again,
second to bottom.
Watching it again, I really enjoyed it actually. So, what's your favourite things about the episode?
I love, as I said, the chemistry. I love the idea. I love the monsters and the villains. It's just a very good story, and this is a 4th Perry episode. And if you think she's the most watched randomizer companion, and she was only in a few.
And in that time, we've heard her go about 750 times.
Yeah, we have.
I'll tell you what the other best thing about this episode is.
Oh, the cliffhanger.
The cliffhanger.
Yes.
Cliffhanger's great. Well, it's rubbish, but it's greatly rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. We always remember it. That's the only thing you remembered before watching this again.
Yeah. I love it. It's a bit cheesy, but it's one of the most drawn out cliffhangers I think we've ever had. But it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
So what else would you want to comment about on this one? What do you think of the Sixth Doctor?
Yes, I like him in that. I like his quote at the end when he says, when George Stevenson says, what do you do in there? And then the Sixth Doctor says, we mainly argue.
Yeah. I actually, I know not everybody particularly likes this tenure of Doctor Who, but I find there's elements of it that are a bit cheesy, but I don't think you can blame Colin for that. That's just the way the writing was at that time. In actual fact, I think Colin Baker's a great Doctor, actually. I really like him. His costume's a bit OTT, isn't it? I like it, but it's a bit OTT. It's very 80s.
Out of the 4 you've watched, out of the 3 Sixth Doctor episodes on the randomizer so far, is this your least favourite? 2 Doctors attack the Cybermen in this.
I guess it is. It probably is. And yet, there's some things about this episode I prefer than the Cybermen. But I guess overall,
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, the cliffhanger. If we were judging on cliffhangers, this would be up there at the top.
Well, it could have been the case of Androzani cliffhanger.
Well, true. So, would you recommend this one?
And Genesis of the Daleks cliffhangers. It can't beat that one. Pardon?
Would you recommend this episode to people?
Of course I would. This is... Well, I wouldn't, of course I would, but it is a fun episode to watch if you're not in the mood for a miserable episode, a sad one, or a kill-off one, or this is just a jolly sort of adventure. It's quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where the dialogue grates a little bit in terms of the old English speaking. It sounds a bit fake old English speaking, and that grates a little bit at times. But
Like
overall,
now and stuff.
overall though, I think it's a really entertaining episode and worth it for the cliffhanger and the actual ending as well. I really
The
like.
ending, yeah, the endings of the parts.
And actually, there's a lot of potential cliffhanger moments in there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And I'll hint to you, like I hinted to Daddy Cool here, Decool, I mean. There's a bit with a tree, which is maybe my second favourite bit after the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Well, no, my third favourite bit.
Yeah.
My third favourite bit.
There's many good bits.
Yeah.
So, do we need to rate this?
Yes. So monsters.
Monsters. I guess we count the Rani and the Master as
Yes.
monsters.
Well,
So,
villains.
as villains. I'm going to give them an 8, I think.
Yes. A note.
Not less than an 8.
The character development.
Not really too much
Like
character
the
development. 3. Nout. I'll give it nout.
Excitement
I think it's a really exciting one,
Yeah,
actually.
I do.
I'm going to give it 8 again.
and pace.
Pace, well paced.
7.
7.5 for me.
Yeah.
Overall,
7. probably.
yeah, I think so. I think 7. Because although it's a really enjoyable, easy to watch episode, but you can't say that it's a groundbreaker. It's
And
not as powerful as something like Listen or Blink
Or Day of the
or
Doctor, or
Genesis of the Daleks.
Case of Androzani, or
Yeah, certainly not a classic.
yeah,
It's
or
not a
War
classic.
Games.
It's not,
War
not
Games.
classic.
Yeah.
Is it? Excellent. Well, does that bring us to the end of the Mark of the Rani review?
Yes.
It does. Okay. It's time then to test the randomizer.
Ooh.
That magical moment. So,
Oh wait, wrong one.
enable our macros.
Full screen
So,
option.
For- those that don't remember, what is the randomizer? It's the little spreadsheet that we've set up with every single episode of Doctor Who on an Excel spreadsheet. We press a little button, it's a macro-driven thing, and it will randomly provide one for us to watch this week and talk about in the
Yes.
following week's show.
Or another, if it's a 6 to 8 parter or a 9 to 12 parter, one of the weeks ahead.
So we've watched quite a few of them now, so there's a chance we might get a repeat one on here, in which case we're not watching it again, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And if there's one that Lou's scared of, we'll skip those as well. Or, of course, if one comes up that we don't have. So,
Okay.
so we press it.
Yes.
Okay. What have we got? Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this is
Yes.
this is good. This is good.
Yes.
The first of,
I've been wanting to watch this one.
Okay, are you going to explain what it is?
Yes. Enemy of the World.
Ooh.
We did watch this when it first came out in
Yeah.
first came out again
Yeah.
in 2013, and we will be back here in 2 weeks to discuss the full story.
Okay, so
And it's our first
how many,
Patrick Troughton one.
how many episodes is it then?
6.
6-part one. Okay, so yeah, so sorry, no randomizer next week, folks.
Well,
So we're happy because we get to watch Enemy of the World. You'll be sad because there's no randomizer.
And also the week after that we'll probably have 2 exciting things: review this episode and the trailer breakdown, probably,
I imagine so.
if we have it then.
That doesn't mean you can't listen next week because we still recommend you listen.
Yes, still listen if
So,
you want.
that brings us on to the final part
Yes.
of this week's show, I think,
Yes.
which is.
Who to face?
So, do you want to explain who to face?
Okay, so there's a document like the randomizer, and we press it, and it tells us a doctor and a monster, and we have to make up a story out of the top of my head, or off the top of our heads, to do with that doctor and monster. Is it your turn to start today?
Ooh,
I
maybe.
believe it is your turn.
If it is, okay. Okay, so Who is going to face who this week then?
Now I need to disable the macros.
Okay. So there we are.
Ready?
Right. Okay, here goes. So what are we going to be looking at this week then?
Autons
Okay.
and the Second Doctor.
Okay, that's an interesting
So we've got
one,
two Second Doctor things.
2 Second Doctor
in one
things.
day.
Okay. And obviously the Second Doctor didn't actually meet the Autons
Yes.
because they came.
This
into
would be the
third
Autons and the Nesting Consciousness.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so let me think this one through. Okay, we're
there's a
cool.
lot of pressure on it.
It does, yeah, because it's always that pressure because you've suddenly got to think of a story.
Got an
Off the
idea,
top of
but
your
you
head.
have to start.
Okay, this is going to be based in Madame Tussauds.
Okay.
Okay, and it's going to be called Plastic Fantastic.
It's a very cheesy title.
Isn't it? Should I call it something different? Let's call it. Let's call it. The Madame's Horror.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better, isn't it? In brackets, Plastic Fantastic. Okay, and this is going to be featuring Zoe.
Yes.
Where did Zoe come from initially?
Well, she came for a future Earth and the wheel.
Okay, so the Doctor decides that he's going to take Zoe and Jamie to Madame Tussauds because they've not been there before, because she came from the future and he came from the past. And basically when they get there, Jamie's quite amazed because he actually has met some of these characters before in real life. So he's sort of like, hey, didn't look anything like that, you know. And so basically, that's just a little bit of humour that's thrown in there. Zoe's really enjoying it. The Second Doctor's really enjoying it. He also comments on the fact that some of the characters don't really look like they do. So he'll sort of say, "Oh, he was quite fat, really," and things like that. Then there's a message comes out over the tannoy asking everybody to leave. The Doctor's sort of quite confused by this. Why is it? You know, and immediately they think it's a fire. But it turns out that people have been going missing.
Okay.
And the reason they've been going missing is because the Madame Tussauds waxworks aren't really Madame Tussauds waxworks,
Autons.
but they're Autons. Yeah. And basically, they are. What's the master thing called?
Nesting Consciousness.
Yeah. The nesting consciousness is basically using the energy from people to stay alive, and that's why they've used that as a base, because you've obviously got loads of holidaymakers and things going in there. So that's my story.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yes. Plastic Fantastic.
Plastic Fantastic. You've heard it here first. Madame's Horror.
Should I?
Yeah, over to you.
Okay, so mine's called The Home of the Autons. So basically, the Doctor and Jamie and Victoria, I'm going to change the companion from your story,
Okay.
land on this planet, which seems all right from the outside, but when they land on it, there's nothing but plastic everywhere attached to the ground. And when Jamie steps out, he gets stuck on the land, on the plastic.
Excellent.
And he falls into the plastic. And the Doctor and Zoe get this device which protect them from the plastic. And they go to this old abandoned house. And there's this all that's there is a statue of an old woman. But then when in the cliffhanger of part one, Zoe turns away, and then the woman grabs her. And then by the way, how many parts was your
My one's it's quite a weak story, so it's probably not very 90-parter.
And when they get there, they find that Jamie's been turned into plastic. And when they go there, they find it's like a copy of Earth, but made out of plastic. They find the nesting consciousness there, and the plastic hounds attack the Doctor and Zoe.
Yours sounds a lot better than mine, I think.
Does it?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a Doctor Who Lego movie.
Yeah.
No, actually, I like the idea of yours because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think every time we've met the Autons, it's been an Earth-based story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting to sort of see it on a different planet.
Yeah.
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 I really like it. I like your story. It's
Yeah.
good.
So the Home of the Autons, it's a 4-parter.
Okay. Well, if I was you, I'd watch that one rather than mine. But I hope you've enjoyed Who to Face.
Yes.
We always like it. It's always quite testing, particularly for the first person.
Yes. And next time I have to start. And we hope you enjoyed the entire show.
I hope you did. We'll be back next week where we'll be bringing you more news, views, and Doctor Who's.
We'll be reviewing the tenure of 1966 to 1969.
We will not be pressing the randomizer,
Oh.
but we will be talking a little bit about what we've seen so far of Enemy of the World.
As well as doing a quiz or question, we will get excited for the Series 9 news, and hopefully we'll have some news and production updates on the final for Series 9, because they're planning on filming.
So there we have it. We look forward to seeing you then.
Yes, we will too. Well, I will too.
See you later, folks.
Yes, we'll see you next week. Bye.